Hello everyone, this is an updated report regarding the fires in Australia. And of course, I'm not just projecting the news or trying to act like a newscaster here, but we've talked about the subject on a special report. I have the video that I did regarding something that I saw called the sky people, where I was seeing a red sky and related to chemicals and some other stuff that I thought was a future event, and that was guided to me through Edgar Allan Poe. So I have that video, in addition to a discussion with Peter the Insider, who resides in Australia and knows the area very well, also working for the ACIO, and giving us his perspective or information, insider information regarding some other extraterrestrials and other things, that involvement, regarding what's happening over there. But I'm sharing this picture first, so we have, some really amazing people that send me information when they hear some of the reports and shows that I've done here on the channel. One of which is Flying Frank sent me this, and clearly looks like a directed energy weapon. Anything coming from the sky, yeah, could be all sorts of things, right? And someone could contend that this is photoshopped. Well, I'll leave that up to you to figure out, but I thought I'd at least share this. I thought it was quite interesting. The next thing that he sent me was this video in particular, and how that they use aerial ignition plastic sphere dispensers, and they put some type of chemicals inside, and they're used for containments of fire. And I think the hint was, if this is the type of thing that they're able to do, there's not much of a trace of these balls that are somewhat released. And as you can see, I'm going to mute that here, and you can see that these things are just dropped, and then I don't know if I'm supposed to be sharing this or not, but it just drops down, has chemical components in there, and that clearly just lights on its own as soon as it hits the ground, and it's used for containment of fire. Now, I'm not a firefighter, and I appreciate the firefighters and all that they're doing. So then I was curious, well, why would they need different types of tools to assist in creating a fire if they're trying to put fires out? So I looked up and said, what is the origin of the fight fire with fire? And I guess it's used for containment, so that they deliberately attempt to guard or against other types of grasses and material that's around the area, and they try to, I guess, burn that out first before the larger fire comes in. And so but could something go wrong here? I suppose it could, but like I said, I definitely don't want to say anything negative about the firefighters, because clearly they're on our side. And of course there's going to be a few rogues, like that one guy that was kind of an arsonist and hiding amongst them, but that was in the other report that I did. But of course, like I said, I don't want to say anything negative about the firefighters. So that I guess is something, a process that they do. But yes, there are definitely easy ways to start fires, and fires over a large area if someone, if something like this got into the wrong hands. This also came up that I thought was quite interesting, because I just want to take a look at this Aboriginal flag which, you know, it seems to have like a red color to it. You know, there's black and red, and with the sun in the center. Since 1971, the Aboriginal flag has grown to become one of the most powerful and iconic symbols for the Aboriginal people across Australia. And so it was first publicly flown in Adelaide's Victoria Square in 1971, which seems kind of odd to me that, you know, they've been around for so long, and why is it just in 1971 that their flag is being shown? I know it's being shown, but maybe just in that square in particular. The red symbolizes the land we walk on in the red ochre. The yellow represents the sun, which gives us life. The black represents our people. The fact that we walk in the land was another reason why Thomas felt it was appropriate to put black above the red for his design. So, maybe it was created at that time. I guess I didn't read it through fully. And so it was essential to incorporate the black into the flag after witnessing the power of the Black consciousness movement was having in America. Thomas has related that all three colors in ochre form were consistently prominent among the Indigenous artworks he handled in the South Australian Museum. So it just goes on a little bit about the flag. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of this. Isn't that interesting? South Australian woman Rose Fletcher took the amazing photo, picture of the rising sun, seemingly to recreate the Aboriginal flag. Kind of eerie and prophetic in a way, I guess. There it is. And there's the flag. And it's just, it's quite interesting. Oop. That's not what I wanted to show. There it is. So we can go back and forth. Black on top, red in the center, yellow in the middle. The next picture. I don't know if anyone remembers when I was talking to Peter and I said I saw these black beings that looked like, kind of like devils that had pointed ears and, you know, looking at me. Bushfires, Devil's Inferno, eerie photo of a massive blaze. A dairy farmer who spent 13 hours defending his property from a fire. Just want to make sure we have the date in there. You see, January 3rd, 2020. Dairy farmer spent 13 hours defending his property from a fire that spat out 100 large fireballs. It's interesting, it's fireballs, it calls it. Was pleaded with the PM to not let any more people die. Craig Calvert from Sarsfield in Victoria has prepared his home and farmed as best as he could before the raging bushfire in East Gippsland rolled over. I used to work offshore. I got extensive fire experience. I got a CFA, or Country Fire Authority experience as well. We knew it was going to be bad. We didn't know exactly how bad it was until it was on top of you, he said. Look at that picture. They're calling it the devil face. It doesn't have the pointed ears that I was looking at, but that's about the look I got. And to me, that looks more like an ET. Because if you ask me, the devils that I've seen have some really weird-looking horns. But I guess there's other variations. It's, I guess, the sinister look that he has. Is this real? Is it photoshopped? I don't know. But it was in the Daily Telegraph, so I would leave that up to them. they're going to be posting this, whether or not this is an authentic article, and whether or not this is an authentic picture. But it does look pretty odd. The rest of the pictures, seem to be regular news. Firefighters battle. Here, the rain falls January 5th, 2020, in the town of Eden. I mean, if this doesn't sound apocalyptic, I don't know what does. It's kind of odd. But, they've been referring to all these fires like a type of hell, and that it's pretty much surrounded the whole island. And what's so strange is it's surrounded by water. And something happened where the fires just got out of control. I'm sure that, there were some kind of, whether it was a malaise or something that just, they couldn't get control of it. Some weird time, space, reality shifts and things that happen, because when they want to make something happen, it can get highly strange. And that means that things can shift and alter in the reality, and people can become disoriented and things can happen. I don't know if humans are really immune to some of these really strange anomalies, and people can say that, well, maybe you're reading into it. I'm just pointing out that these things pretty much showed up, whether it's the face, whether it's the matching of the flag, and of course I look for, I heard that it was raining there, and I find this town of Eden. I just thought it was pretty interesting, and this all reflects the conversation that I had with Peter the Insider. So if you hadn't heard that message, maybe listen to this and listen to that and some of the other pieces that I mentioned before, and I'll try to put all of the videos that were related to this topic together in the link area where you can review any of them that you'd like to see. One other thing that's not necessarily related to Australia, or maybe it is, I don't know, but this is something that Peter mentioned, and the worms. It doesn't look like a snake to me, it looks like a worm. And I remember seeing this a while back, and I thought I'd bring it back in. Medieval knights' armor as exoskeleton to other races. These are sculptures that they've found, and also this video is quite interesting. It was created in 2018 by this group called New Earth on YouTube, but they have some really interesting things about mud flood and all sorts of other historical stuff that the people, our history books definitely wouldn't cover. And because of it's really hard to explain, or it gets into the topic of who else has been here on the planet with us. So these exoskeletons are these the knights, and that clearly there's some other creatures there. Someone was trying to disclose it, and I guess that's pretty much what we're trying to do, is to reveal the inner parts of the exoskeleton, or the worms, and the hidden things that are going on around the world, and have people take another look and see, what are other possibilities of what's happening here. And so they have some kind of their armor itself is very strange, and as you listen to this whole video, it's 20 minutes long or so, that there's no way a human could be able to look or see in front of themselves or anything like that. It's almost like the armor is not equipped for a human, particularly for him or her to be able to see through the armor. It's pretty much closed off, and so it would require other type of sight or sensory knowing to be able to navigate and walk around in this thing, let alone battle for hours, like they mentioned that they do. So these are the worms that Peter mentioned, and then of course this whole thing that kind of fits this whole kind of apocalyptic construct, that it's kind of laid out that way, and not really sure what's going on. I'm very happy to hear that it's raining, and I hope something like this doesn't happen again, to be honest with you. Although Peter said something more is to come, I don't know, but so far some of the stuff he's been saying, where we end up finding and seeing. But anyhow, let's hold the highest intention for humanity, and let's ask that everyone's safe, secure, and protected as these high strangeness is happening due to some of the things that they're doing, messing with our world, and this reality that we're in, whether it's CERN and some of these other areas. Just hold on tight. I'm sure we're going to get through it all. But meanwhile, we'll keep informed. Thank you all for listening.